The thunder gods battle against chaos. Long ago, before the age of men and the world we know, there was a time when magic surged through the air and gods walked the earth. It was a time when the forces of order and chaos were in constant struggle. Among these forces, the mighty Thor, god of thunder and protector of the realms, stood as a champion of order. He was known for his great strength, his temper as fierce as a storm, and his unyielding sense of duty. He wielded Mjolnir, the most powerful weapon in existence, a hammer that could shatter mountains and always return to his hand. His chariot, drawn by the two goats Hrungnir and Hrungnir, rumbled across the sky, creating the thunder that echoed through the heavens. One day news came to Asgard, the home of the gods, that the giants, ancient enemies of the Aesir, were gathering their forces in Jotunheim, preparing for an assault. The giants had long sought to overthrow the gods and bring chaos to all the 9 realms. At the head of this gathering was Hrungnir, a giant known for his unmatched size and strength. His body was like stone, impenetrable to any weapon, and his heart was as cold as ice. He carried a massive stone club that could level entire forests with a single swing. Hrungnir's ambition was to conquer Asgard and claim it as his own, but his hatred for Thor ran deeper than any river, for he knew that as long as the thunder god stood, no victory would be complete. The All-Father's command. The All-Father Odin, ruler of Asgard, sat upon his high throne, his one eye gazing across the realms. He saw the threat rising in Jotunheim and called his son Thor to his side. Hrungnir gathers the giants, Odin said gravely. They mean to storm Asgard. The peace we have fought to maintain is at risk. Thor's eyes blazed like lightning. Then I will put an end to Hrungnir's schemes, he declared. He will learn what it means to challenge the gods. Odin placed a hand on his son's shoulder. Remember, Thor, strength alone will not win this battle. Hrungnir is not like the others. Be wise as well as fierce. Thor nodded, though in his heart he had little patience for words of caution. He relished the thought of facing Hrungnir and smashing the giant's stone skull with Mjolnir. And so, without delay, Thor climbed into his chariot and took to the skies, lightning flashing and thunder roaring as he raced towards Jotunheim. The challenge at the stone bridge. When Thor arrived at the borders of Jotunheim, he found Hrungnir standing on a massive stone bridge, surrounded by a host of giants. The sky above was dark and churning, and the ground beneath seemed to tremble with the weight of the giant army. Hrungnir stood tall, his granite-like skin glistening in the faint light. His laughter rumbled like an earthquake. So the little thunder god has come to face me at last, he boomed. I've been waiting for this moment. And here I am, Thor replied, leaping down from his chariot, Mjolnir crackling with power in his hand. You shall find that my hammer is more than a match for your stone club, Hrungnir. The giant sneered. You think you can harm me, Thor? I am the strongest of my kind. My body is as hard as the mountains. We shall see, Thor said with a grin. Let us test your strength. Strike me if you can. Hrungnir gripped his stone club with both hands and swung it down with all his might, aiming to crush the god of thunder in one blow. But Thor, quick as lightning, sidestepped the blow. The club struck the bridge with a deafening crack, splintering the stone. In that instant, Thor hurled Mjolnir with such speed and force that it seemed to vanish in a flash. The hammer struck Hrungnir's head, shattering it like glass, and the giant fell to the ground, his body crumbling into a heap of stones. The other giants, seeing their leaders fall, fled in terror, scattering back into the wilds of Jotunheim. Thor stood victorious, but as he watched the giants flee, a sense of unease settled in his heart. He had defeated Hrungnir, but it was a hollow victory. The giants would rise again, he knew, for their hatred of the gods was a flame that could never be fully extinguished. The theft of Mjolnir. Not long after his victory, a new threat emerged. One morning, Thor awoke to find that Mjolnir was gone. The hammer, which never left his side, had vanished without a trace. In a fit of rage, Thor searched high and low throughout Asgard. But it was Loki, the trickster god, who brought news of what had happened. Thrym, the king of the giants, has stolen your hammer, Loki revealed, his eyes gleaming with mischief. He has hidden it deep in the earth and will only return it if he is given the hand of Freya in marriage. Thor's rage knew no bounds. Does that fool think he can ransom Mjolnir? I will crush him and his entire kingdom for this. But Freya, the goddess of love, would not hear of such a trade. I will not be given away like a prize, she declared. There must be another way. And so it was Loki who came up with a plan. We shall disguise Thor as Freya, he suggested. We will dress him in bridal clothes and send him to Thrym as the bride. When the hammer is brought out for the ceremony, Thor can reclaim it. Thor was not pleased with the idea of wearing a dress, but he knew there was no other way to recover Mjolnir. Very well, he grumbled, but if any of the giants laugh at me, they shall not live to laugh again. The wedding feast. Disguised in a flowing bridal gown and veil, with Loki dressed as his handmaiden, Thor traveled to Thrym's hall. The giant king welcomed his bride with open arms, his laughter shaking the walls. The giants set a grand feast for the occasion, and as they ate, Thrym marveled at how much his bride could devour. Thor, who had never been one to eat sparingly, devoured an entire ox and drank 3 barrels of mead. Thrym leaned over to Loki and whispered, I have never seen a bride with such an appetite. Loki, ever quick with his tongue, replied, Oh, it is because she has not eaten for 8 days, being so eager to join you. Finally, the time came for the hammer to be brought forth as part of the ceremony. Thrym ordered that Mjolnir be laid in the bride's lap to bless the union. As soon as Thor's hand touched the hammer, he tore off the veil and leaped to his feet. Your bride has arrived, Thrym, he roared. With Mjolnir back in his grasp, Thor laid waste to the entire hall. Thrym and his kin fell beneath the hammer's blows, and soon no giant remained standing. With the giants defeated and his hammer reclaimed, Thor and Loki returned to Asgard, their mission a success. The prophecy of Ragnarok. Despite his victories, a shadow always lingered in Thor's mind. The prophecy of Ragnarok, the end of all things. It was foretold that one day, the gods would face their final battle, and Thor would meet his greatest enemy, the Midgard Serpent, a monstrous sea creature so vast that it encircled the world. The day of Ragnarok eventually came, and the skies burned as the realms shook. Thor confronted the Midgard Serpent in a battle so fierce that the seas boiled and the earth cracked. He fought with all the power he possessed, each blow from Mjolnir echoing like a clap of thunder. At last, with a mighty swing, he crushed the serpent's skull. But as the creature lay dying, its venomous breath washed over Thor, and the poison coursed through his veins. With his last breath, Thor staggered back, knowing that he had saved the world from the serpent's wrath, even as darkness claimed him. The legacy of the Thunder God. Thor's tales teach us that strength is more than just power. It is also a commitment to protect those we love, and a willingness to make sacrifices for the greater good. Even as fate looms over us all, it is the courage to face that fate head-on that makes us truly heroic. The Thunder God's name still echoes in the rumble of the storm, reminding us that even when darkness seems near, there is a light that stands against it, ever defiant. Such is the legacy of Thor, whose hammer and heart were equally mighty, and whose story will be told for ages to come.